Ladies and gentlemen, March has arrived, if you can believe it. And I have Jason Meza here to prove it with the Better Business Bureau.
Spring has sprung.
Spring has sprung. The Ides of March are almost upon us.
Yep.
March Madness, spring break.
Oh, man. Here we go.
The leaves are starting to green on the trees at my home, and the weeds are as well.
So the Texas live oak has shed its leaves, so that every first week of March, here I go raking like a silly man right now. So,
I have to. There will be a lot of raking in my near future. But enough about my landscaping here. This is Pickup Lines presented by Gamez Law Firm and Integrity Roofing and Siding. We are once again inside the fabulous Lexus RZ 450E, courtesy of North Park Lexus at San Antonio and North Park Lexus at Dominion. I may have just sold one of these to Jason here in a little while. So
my wife is already a fan, and she said sold. So
good.
I think we're on the hook, Ernie.
We'll talk after we're done. I was joking with Jason earlier that in my previous job, we talked. I've probably interviewed you, I don't know, 30, 40 times. I don't know how many, but it was always on Wednesdays.
Right, every Wednesday I got a date with you.
We did a segment. It was like a standing segment, Better Business Bureau. And so for a minute, when you walked in, I thought, wait a minute, what's today? It's not Wednesday.
Well, it should have been a downhill thing. If you see me at noon on a Wednesday, it's all like a roller coaster downhill to the weekend from here. So I thought I was a welcome bride.
That's a good point. That's good. It certainly was a highlight. And I learned a lot. I learned a lot with you and try to pick your brain as much as possible.
Yep.
So you've been with the Better Business Bureau now for a while, haven't you?
It'll be my 5th year already. But yeah, it's a great group to be on. And thank you for the time, obviously, to be here. But yeah, 5 wonderful years of UB.
Well, thank you for supporting me as well. You guys have been nice enough to support this show. And so thank you to the BBB.org, by the way. Yep. I always said it's the easiest website.
It rolls off the tongue.
Ever.
Yeah, that's just his general statement. BBB.org.
BBB.org.
Yep.
You're the Senior Director of Media Relations and Community Engagement, which is a wordy title, but essentially what do you do?
I'm still trying to figure that out, honestly. It's a lot of media relations. Like I said, we met on TV a lot of times.
Yeah.
But it's getting the word out about what we do. A lot of people have a misconception about what the BBB does.
Yeah.
Back in the day, Grandma waved her hand in the air and said, I'm going to call the BBB on this company because XYZ. So I grew up like that, knowing that it was a place for complaints to offer feedback. We do so much more, though. Just getting into the company, and we're out in the committee. We're doing lunch and learns. We're showing businesses how to go from point A to point B. A lot of micro entrepreneurs out there, startups. We want them to move ahead. So if we can help be part of that path, that's what we do. My territory is a lot of cactus.
You do cover a lot of
cactuses and jackrabbits. From here to the border, from here out West Texas. So it's a big area, a lot of businesses, and a lot of work to do.
So you don't have a colleague in West Texas or on the border that covers that part of the state?
No. You're looking at South Texas BBB representation right here. I do have West Texas and Austin covered, so I don't really go that far. But yeah, a lot of area to cover, and a lot of businesses.
You're bilingual too, right? So that helps.
I am. Yes. Most days.
You do.
Depends.
Yo también. Exactly. Yeah. Yes. So there you have it. So you were talking about how you've been there for a little while, and you're still learning some things.
Right.
So what's something that you've learned, or one of the first things you learned about BBB that you were like, oh wow, I didn't realize that was Better Business Bureau?
Sure. We do our own reviews, very similar to Google reviews. There's like 74 review companies out there now.
But you've been around forever.
Yes, we've been around since 1912, the year of the Titanic. So
oh my God.
The Titanic sunk that year. We've been around. We haven't sunk yet. We're doing fine. We're stronger than ever because it's the gold standard. You see that logo or that sign or that BBB.
Yeah, there it is.
If you see that, okay, they're the good guys. They're a company I should trust, or they're somebody I feel better about walking into a business relationship with. So, yeah, learning that we have our own reviews.
Right.
We do our own reviews. We don't accept other reviews. We don't port them in because we verify every single review that comes in. It goes to a live person. We ensure the marketplace interaction took place with that business because there's a lot of ex-spouses, ex-employees try to damage reputations out there. So we make sure a review's legit before it goes on our platform. That was news to me.
Well, the vetting, yeah, you're right, because people now with technology can manipulate Photoshop.
It's horrible.
Mimic your voice, all that kind of stuff. But I can remember as, even being a little boy, if you heard, the BBB gave them an A+ rating by the Better Business Bureau, as opposed to, they got an F.
Right.
I mean, that still holds true today.
It does. We still have the ratings. We still have what separates a business is accredited. They're part of our membership, and a non-accredited. I get asked this at least 10 times a day. What is the difference? I'm doing business with a non-accredited business. That's fine. There's a lot of non-accredited that are A+, and they're doing great work.
Yeah.
They're just not part of our membership. But those that are part of the membership go above and beyond 8 standards of trust. They agree by our bylaws. they swear to uphold the trust element. So it's a little bit of a step further in that direction.
And you could kick a business out if they were not following?
We've revoked
Really?
a lot. Unfortunately, it does happen where, there's a communication gap for so long, and we have to end up saying we say goodbye to the company. Or if it's just a systematic pattern of fraud, their deception we've uncovered, yes, we revoke them, and it happens quite often, honestly.
So many times on the air we talked about fraud and scams, and it's a year-round thing, and I'm sure with March coming and spring break, I'm sure there's a March scam.
There's always a scam. How much time you got?
We got a few. We have more time now than we did at the TV station.
There you go. Yeah. Unfortunately, it's a year-long thing. Every season, there's a scam season. IRS tax fraud.
It is tax season.
Yes, tax season. But the evergreen ones, Ernie, that we always see every time of the year, doesn't matter, is pet scams. Trying to buy a pet online, it's a fraud. Employment scams, you think you're applying for a job, it's a fake. And simply just the online purchase scam. You think you're buying something and it's a bait and switch, and guess what? Your money's gone and there's no product. So it happens every day.
On top of the emails I still get almost every day from the guy in Africa or London who
inheritance.
My inheritance is waiting. If I would just send them, a deposit or something, he's going to give me 35 million pounds. Or
the Nigerian prince is not coming for
the Nigerian prince is still not. I'm checking, and he or she, the princess, has not arrived yet.
Yep, and the check from the Publishers Clearinghouse has not arrived yet.
People still fall for that, though.
It happens a lot. They're getting convincing. They're getting really good. They're getting so good that they're almost like live people saying, "Listen, I'm ready to collect your information. I just need $200 to send you the check."
Yeah.
And that 200's gone, and you're ID thefting for another 2 or 3 years trying to clean that up. So it happens a lot still.
And that's the thing, and we reported on, and I know you've seen stories of people, like you said, that this doesn't go away in 5 minutes. I mean,
it
years.
takes a long time to clean up ID theft, credit fraud. I mean, you're constantly fighting a battle. Your ID is more. I've got a wallet right here with some money in it. And if somebody steals that, I'm fine with it. The money's gone.
Right.
But your ID, your personal information, once it's out there, it's a long game you're playing to try and make sure that it's safe again.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck. I bet you've seen or some scams over the years, or just heartbreaking stories, without naming names or anything, things that really just hit you especially hard.
The biggest one to date was an elderly gentleman out of Wimberley 3 or 4 years ago, was communicating online with a love interest, thought he was really into it. He was retired, so he wasn't connected with his family a whole lot. He was kind of separate, distanced a little bit. Ends up giving the lady, over time, $110,000 plus. She just kept coming back for more and pulling that line. Typical romance scam, but he was blind, obviously. I can't tell you what love is. I mean, and the blinders were on, and he was just constantly back and forth. There was a person probably out of the country posing as a woman, giving him attention, and he was giving money because of any little emergency. And finally, the daughter, I think, caught on and reported it and said, "I think you need to help my dad, who's been over $100,000 duped." And sure enough, it was. But again, approaching older dad, saying, "Dad, I think you're being scammed." It was hard. It was a tough scenario.
Tough to admit that.
Yes.
And everything. So what, in your role at the BBB, when something like that happens, what can you do, and is any of that money returned?
I would 0 to 5% of the time. Under 5% do we see money come back. If it's through unsecure means, let's just wire transfer, gift cards, non-secure means. The thing is, if you don't report it, we don't know about it. We can't weave that story together. Your names, your email addresses they're using, they might help us put that story together. But if we don't have it, if we don't have your report, sadly, we probably won't be able to get your money back all the time. But at least it's a step in the right direction. It's positive. Don't feel ashamed, and don't come out and say anything about it.
I mean, sharing the story puts it out there in the universe to hopefully prevent it from happening again. But I know it's difficult to own that sometimes.
Yes. I mean, scams, we can talk forever about scams and fraud and deception that's out there. I love to talk about the good businesses, though. There's so much good business that don't get love.
That's true.
That are doing the right things. They don't teach you ethics in high school. Did they teach you an ethics class? Was there a class you went through? There wasn't.
I don't recall. No.
There wasn't. So they don't preach it. It's just doing the right thing when nobody's looking. It's making it right, honest, transparent, being upfront about stuff. When you shake hands for an agreement to buy or purchase something, it's good old fashioned business. And I like to salute those guys and put them up on pedestals.
You are right, though, on the news. I mean, and I was probably as guilty as anybody else. It's the negative, the horrible stuff that gets more press.
If it bleeds, it leads. Is still true.
Well, unfortunately,
Okay.
that's oh gosh, yes. But you're exactly right. I mean, as we speak, there are businesses doing the right thing and everything, and so they're rewarded with A+ ratings, obviously. But in what other ways can they get rewarded or acknowledged?
Well, awards. I mean, we have our Torch Award for Ethics. If you've not heard of that, it's the premium award that BBB can bestow any business for doing the above and beyond work. But just making sure that you're visiting a business, you're giving them the power of feedback. Your positive referral goes a long way. I'm reading referrals. I'm reading reviews like crazy. I say, I'm a negative Nancy, Ernie. I go to the bad review first and find out how you responded as a business operator.
That's a good point.
And that shows me the interaction I might have with you at some point if I'm going to buy something from you. So just going above and beyond, reading those reviews, offer testimonials if you're a business operator. Say, listen, this is the people that are happy with my business.
Yeah.
Call them up and ask them for a referral or a testimonial. I mean, that's the nature of the beast now.
Yeah, and again, technology, as great as it can also be terrible sometimes in some cases.
It is. AI is taking over now, as you know. I mean, there's so many things. There's fake reviews out there. There's manipulated reviews. So it's hard to decipher what's real and what's not. But hopefully having us on your side, we can help you in that direction. BBB is not government. People think that I'm that bureau, that we're going to come in and handcuff somebody. We don't do that. We're a not-for-profit entity. We are a resource to communities. We're a free resource. So use us for dispute resolutions, for feedback, for a complaint. If you have an issue, holler.
We always on the air talked about the scam tracker, and those are tools that are open to anybody, and they're free, and it's on the website bbb.org. How often do you get scam emails? Or I've been getting a lot of robocalls, telemarketer. I know it's it's an election year, so you get election calls and stuff. I don't recall ever getting as many robo and scam calls as I've been getting lately.
Yes. If I knew the answer, Ernie, I'd be on a beach with a cold one in my hand right now. If I knew the ultimate answer to ending all robocalls and robotexts, smishing scams. So we're getting the texts, we're getting the emails, we're getting the voicemails.
Even you get them.
I get them all the time.
Oh my
we get them. The house gets them. But it's one thing to say, listen, did I ask for this? In other words, did I enlist with a marketing company? I was at the mall, and I put my name down to win a new car.
Yeah.
That name probably went 30 different directions to other companies, and they got resold and resold. So did I give that information willingly to somebody, and is it legit? Or is it truly a phishing or a smishing scam that I should report? So, it has happened. There are legit robocalls, robotexts, though, from your schools, your governments, the weather service. So there's things that'll come to you that are pushed, but the bad stuff is weeding it out. Right. I would say if you sign up for the do not call list, state and federal do not call list, there's 2 lists, sign up for that for free, and ensure that if you're doing these robokills, these groups that you can pay, it will weed out about 90% of the.
Really?
But
so they can be affected.
They can be affected. 10% will not pay attention to that, though. The other scammers, they don't care about what you're on. They will happen.
Gosh, all right. Okay, so there are some tools out there to fight the good fight.
Yes.
Where did you grow up?
San Angelo, Texas.
Because you went to Angelo State, didn't you?
Went to ASU grad, It's a skip and a hop here. Got here in 2005, quick as I could. Worked the streets. Every little corner of San Antonio, I was selling Spur stuff.
So what brought you here?
Work.
Okay.
Yeah, I wanted to work with a marketing company and really try to just get out of San Angelo, in other words, move this way. It's a great place to grow up and to retire.
Right.
But to do stuff, you move to I-35 somewhere. So I got here in 2005. Selling Spur stuff. It was a championship year for us, so that was a good year.
You were on the side of the road?
Yes, that was me, Ernie, knocking on your door saying, "Look, I got the Spurs towel for the championship year, 2005." It was in June of 2005. So at that point, the city was on fire because of the championship year. So
what kind of merch you were selling? I'm thinking of like on the side of the street, like at the Valero or.
Yeah, I was merchant. I had all kinds of merch gear. I had NBA licensed apparel. I had plaques. I had all kinds of stuff, but it was a hustle gig. It was tough.
Well, I was going to say because we reported on the fact that some of that wasn't legit.
Yeah, Culebra at 10 o'clock at night. I was trying to push stuff, and it was tough. It was a wake up call, though. It was a true wake up call because I figured it out. I was like, you know what? I'm doing probably not the best thing, but I needed work, and I found a path, and I finally got back into legit work. I got into broadcasting. I started the ball rolling, got into some great nonprofits. I worked for Goodwill here for a couple of years.
I remember,
Children's Hospital San Antonio Foundation, great group, and then found BBB, and that was my true calling. It was like, you know what, these guys are the real deal.
I mean, I certainly didn't look down on the people that sold that stuff because I knew exactly what it was.
It was a hustle.
I knew exactly what it was.
Yeah.
And at that time in 2005, people may not realize that when the Spurs were winning titles like every other year, it seemed like.
Right.
The city was on fire. Yep. And the appetite for merch was through the roof.
Yep.
Were you able to make a decent living? Like,
it wasn't an honest living.
Well, I mean,
but there was cash. There was no benefits. There was no
all
entrance.
cash business.
Yes, it was just truly show up at the warehouse at 6:00, pick up what you want, sell it, bring back the proceeds, and you keep cuts. So it was a bare bones operation. Now,
you're out there during playoff time. I'm guessing April, May, June.
I was here in June. So June,
100 degrees outside at 1604 in Culebra.
But wherever. Culebra and General McMullen was one of the memorable spots. But being in every little nook and cranny like you've been, you get to see the guts of this city. You get to experience from the street up and say, been there, done that, know these people, know the community, know what they're interested in. So that helped a lot, in me growing up in this city. So this is my second career, if you will. So starting doing the marketing stuff, and then broadcasting was my next calling, working for a couple of companies here. So it's been a ride. It's been a true ride, man. But I wouldn't change it.
I probably drove past you at one point.
I'm sure I really hope you would have patronized us and bought something. I mean, support a gig, support a guy. But it was an experience.
The Duncan, Ginobili, Parker.
Yeah. It was a good
shirts
time.
And towels and everything.
Anybody knows it was a great time to be a San Antonian during those years. For sure.
You could have sold anything with Spurs on it back then.
Exactly.
Yeah, and maybe we'll get back to that time at some point. Mm-hmm. But I mean, the Spurs seem to be trending up right now, but chances are you will not be selling merch on the side.
No, you won't catch me doing that for quite a while. But on top of that, I mean, it was an experience.
Yeah, I bet. And that community, I would think, was pretty tight community, very passionate.
Yep, big time. But like I said, it's one of those things where you learn about your city.
Yeah.
You get out.
Oh yeah.
And you get your hands dirty, and you think, man, this is my city.
Yeah. I get it. Well, that's what I think is partly what makes San Antonio so unique is just that kind of hustle and that mentality and everything. But obviously, you are doing great things, and you went on to bigger and better things. And in addition to everything you've talked about, I know you're very active in the public relations scene here in San Antonio. It's PRSA, and you're the current president of that,
Current president of PRSA San Antonio chapter. It's a great group. I mean, every communicator considers PRSA membership because it's one of those things where it's like, we love to network, we love to party, we love to connect and share best practices, but we feed you guys on media. We feed a lot of stories, and we're the middle people.
Yes, you do.
We're not in the camera many times, but we're behind the scenes helping tell the story or weave a narrative out there. So, PRSA is a great group, and happy to be serving.
I was often told by people, like especially when I left this TV station, just go into PR. Just go into PR.
It's an easy.
Like it was an obvious transition and everything. And what I found, I mean, this is my experience, is it's not as easy as people might think.
Right.
You know this, I mean, as well as anybody. But just the work, the grind, the hours.
Yep.
It's a thankless job sometimes.
It is very much.
So it's not just an automatic. I know some people have done it and have done well, but I certainly couldn't do that.
A lot of ex-anchors, former journalists move our direction because they know the beast, they know the business, and so flip into that side, the dark side, they would say. Now we're on this side, like, wow, there is life after TV, there is life after journalism, and I'm enjoying it, and I'm getting a chance to serve my community by saying, listen, I'm working with client A, I'd like to tell your story, let's pitch it to media. So that's what the PR person, typically their path, their journey is. They're serving a client or a community member with a story and helping them amplify that story.
The TV news business, I believe, has changed dramatically in the last 10, 20 years with social media and just the way news is covered and digital and all the different things. But as PR really, at its core, has it changed a lot?
No, the bare bones, I think, in my opinion, the bare bones PR tactics haven't changed. It's a good old cup of coffee and a handshake. It's a good old, listen, you help us. It's a mutually beneficial relationship. You help us, we help our client. Everybody win-win-win. So, yes, nothing has changed on that front. The technology, the platforms, obviously that's changed.
This right here.
All this stuff, all this digital technology, I mean, this is all new.
Yeah.
That will always be emerging. But for us as people, as real human beings serving other human beings, that's never going to change.
Yeah. And so your current term runs through when?
The end of the year.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I should have acknowledged you as Mr. President.
No,
I'm
never.
sorry.
No.
I'm sorry.
I'm just the tip of the spear. Everybody else, I have a great group.
Some of my, some of my closest friends in this city are PR professionals that have been in this market for a long time.
Friends
and
for
just
life.
amazing people, and they will be friends for life, that is for sure.
Yep.
Just before we came on the air, we were talking about the military, here in San Antonio, and you have a connection to that as well. You were telling me about, as someone, like, I had General Evans in this seat last week at Fort Sam Houston, and I'm trying to learn, obviously never having served myself, but you're involved in something that's pretty cool.
Likewise, like yourself, never served. My dad and brother served in the armed forces. But yeah, this is Military City, USA. Come on, let's just acknowledge that for sure.
No question.
You come across vets, and you come across current recruits and people that move through and move out, because this is a high hub for training for Air Force here, obviously. And I thought, you know what? We as BBB, but me as a person also should get involved in that community more. Lackland has the Honorary Commander program where committee members, citizens, elected officials can apply and get into this 2-year program where they will walk you around the base, meet every installation, a commander, and learn about what they do. And it's like, wow, there's a lot. So there's obviously a lot of synergy between the city and the military community. So yes, I hereby nominate you for the next Honorary Commander program, Ernie, at some level, at some point within your future. It's a great group.
I do love it. I will tell you, I have, and I still have General Evans challenge coin.
Nice.
He gave it to me last week, and so because he said if he sees me again and I don't have it, I have to buy him a drink of his choice.
Well, he said the word challenge. It is a challenge.
It is a challenge coin. So General, I'm telling you, I got it right here. So, and I know I'll see him soon. So you keep pretty busy.
Very, very hustle. It's one of those things where if I'm not serving on a board somewhere or serving in a capacity, I'm chasing my 7-year-old, or I'm trying to assistant coach here. And then, and life never stops, as you know. I mean, life goes on. You have your full-time gig, and you try and work around everything else. So spinning plates was correct. I think we mentioned that. Yeah, it's a circus, but I couldn't have it anyway because my mind at 11 o'clock at night is still churning, thinking about the next day.
I was going to say, can you ever turn it off?
No, it's hard. It's tough. Right?
Your wife ever look at you like my wife did and be like...
All the time. Just about 8 hours ago, yeah. So
put the phone down, Jason.
Yep, both phones, unfortunately.
Oh, I see. I only have one.
I got the bat phone and I got the work phone. So when this one hollers, I got to respond.
Oh, my gosh. All right, so you mentioned like today you have training and just some other things you got to do?
I think so. A typical Friday for anybody that works for the Better Business Bureau is taking those inbound feedback.
Yeah.
Good and bad. We love to see the good. But
yeah,
Fridays we kind of sit back and say, you know what? How did your week go? What did the team learn? Is there an emerging trend? Is there a pattern we need to find out? So, I think Fridays are more let your hair down kind of thing, but up until noon. And then after that, it's downhill to the weekend, right?
So it doesn't get monotonous for you, or you still find it rewarding in the work and everything serves a purpose and all that?
I think so. Like I mentioned, we a lot of people have misconceptions about what we do, what we are, what we serve, who we serve. So getting that word out is a full-time gig, getting it get out, and then you meet business owners, you meet community members, you meet people who are hurt, that have been fraudulently deceived. You meet those people and you're like, I need help. How can I help? What's the next step? And if it is, where we get in and have dispute resolution services, do we work a case? Do we, try to figure out an investigation to bring this to light? Whatever we got to do, we'll be there.
I said it on the air a million times. I think people just need to know that there are resources out there.
Right.
Free in many cases.
Mm-hmm. Free, low cost to no cost.
And if you can just get past that part, like you said, like admitting that you were deceived.
Yes.
Or that this happened to you. And like you said, and I would think the elderly is a vulnerable population, so maybe it's the grandchildren that are watching this, or the son or the daughter that's watching this.
Right.
And realizes, hey, this might be happening to my dad or a grandfather.
The seniors are vulnerable, but I would say everybody with a piece of technology is also highly vulnerable, because it's easy to swipe and
my teenagers get
all your information
crap on their phone all the time.
So there you go. So everybody, I mean, our younger consumers, obviously, they are more willing to share easily information. It ports like nothing, and a lot of that encrypted data goes with it, and so out goes your ID and your information. It's crazy now.
Yeah. Well, it does not discriminate, age, race, gender, you name it. So, great information. bbb.org, as always. I wanted to have this kind of conversation with you forever, because when we were on the news, we got, 3 minutes?
3.5 minutes,
4
probably,
minutes?
Yeah.
Half of that time was me introducing you, and the other half was tossing the weather.
That title, right? That title just takes about 30 seconds.
Senior Director of Media Relations and Community Engagement at the BBB, and President of PRSA San Antonio, Public Relations Society of America, right?
Yeah.
PRSA San Antonio chapter. Some of my favorite people.
Yeah.
So, listen, I appreciate it.
You're the man.
Wednesday, Friday, any day of the week. Jason Meza always delivers. So one more time, bbb.org. The scam tracker is there. Take advantage of all that. And please do not be defrauded.
Yes, it's going to happen. If I had to tell anybody any piece of advice is if it comes inbound, unsolicited, have your ears up. Trust your gut. That was the key.
Yeah.
It came to you and you didn't request it. So
heard it from the man himself. Always great to see you, sir. Thank you for the support. Appreciate
likewise,
that.
we're here to, for the years. I mean, we're happy to have you at any point with the Emeritus program, with PRSA, with future BBB functions and events. You being ingrained and weaving in your community in and out with Rayfield and all that stuff. I mean, hats off and kudos to you. You are a resource to San Antonio.
My God, I'm trying, Jason. Well, listen, I've got good examples that do it as well, so that it inspires
the hustle,
me.
right?
It's a hustle.
I don't want to catch you at the side of the road. I know the Spurs are having it down here, but if it's you, I'll also gladly support you.
I mean, I could sell some Wemby shirts, I would think, right now. I got to find some gigantic shirts to sell, but anyway.
We're hustlers.
I did not know that about you, the Spurs thing. I think that's pretty fascinating, and I'm trying to picture that in my mind.
It was a gig economy. It's a gig economy.
It sure was. It sure was. Is there? Does a photo exist of?
Never. There's no evidence. There's no evidence. Yeah, it's been destroyed.
Well, if you have any extra shirts or anything lying around, I'm an XL or.
I might have a Terry towel or something with a logo on it somewhere.
Yes, with the Avery Johnson on it, or some, Malik Rose or something like that from 2005.
05, so it would have been the 3. He would have been 3.
Duncan Parker Ginobili.
Yep.
I mean, again, I could have sold him this handkerchief.
That was me. That was me on the side of the road hanging out and just saying $20.
Every time it was a red light or something, or were you at like a red light?
No. I wouldn't go into the street. No.
You were
parking lots
by the Valero or whatever.
Yep.
The
parking lots.
People getting their gas.
Mm-hmm. That was me.
Gosh.
Among many others.
Hey man, it worked out for you. Thanks again.
Thanks, man.
Good to see you, Jason Meza, Better Business Bureau, and one-time Spurs swag salesperson. But you turned out all right.
I'm okay.
Good to see you, man. All right.
Appreciate it.
This has been another episode of Pickup Lines presented by Gamez Law Firm. I learned something new every time. I did not know this about this man. We'll be back very soon with another episode right here. Have a great weekend. Happy March. Bye for now.